So the CBI has arrested Giribala Singh, the accused in the case of Twisha Sharma. Giribala Singh is a former judge and Twisha Sharma's mother-in-law. Madhya Pradesh High Court has quashed her anticipatory bail, and the CBI questioned her in her home and before taking her into custody. Remember, the son, Samrat Singh, is already in custody. The CBI now apparently plans to uh, question them separately and confront them to see if they're able to match each other's statements with regard to the circumstances that led up to the death of Twisha Sharma on the 12th of May. She will be, of course, Giribala Singh will be produced before a court in the next 24 hours to seek her custody. Just a quick update on this case, and I'll tell you everything that has happened so far. And I have a rather unpopular take on this that I've been thinking about for several days. I've decided to put out today. Now, Giribala Singh served as a district court judge in Madhya Pradesh. And later held the post of the President of Consumer Forum. Records mention that she served from 2021 to 23. She is the mother of Samrat Singh and Twisha's husband. Following Twisha's death, an FIR was registered against both of them, accusing them of mental harassment, emotional abuse, and dowry-related cruelty. Now, the arrest comes after the anticipatory bail hearing in the High Court in Madhya Pradesh. Giribala faces charges under Section 82, dowry death, cruelty against a woman by a husband or relatives, and acts done by several persons in furtherance of common intention. Effectively, she's been booked under the Dowry Prohibition Act. Now, a quick refresher on this case, in case you have forgotten. It seems unlikely that you would have been. Twisha Sharma, 33, former actor model, was found hanging in her matrimonial home on the 12th of May. Her family has accused her in-laws of dowry harassment and abetment to suicide. Her in-laws say that she suffered from drug addiction. The police have registered an FIR against Samrat Singh and Giribala Singh. Now, in their statements, the family members said that she was being tormented by her in-laws who were not satisfied with the dowry paid at the time of their wedding in December last year. The family accuses the in-laws of mental torture, domestic violence, and pushing her to take that extreme step. The Bhopal police registered a FIR 2 days after Twisha's death, and in that FIR, it said that basically the husband brought her to AIIMS Bhopal after she had hung herself, after she had hanged herself at 10:20 p.m. The doctors at AIIMS say that they informed the police at midnight that she had been brought to death. The post-mortem report, and this is where it becomes interesting, the post-mortem report said that it was death due to hanging by the neck, but also that she had multiple ante-mortem injuries, which means that she had multiple injuries caused by blunt force on other parts of her body that happened before she died. Now, after receiving the post-mortem report and recording family members' statements, the police registered that FIR. Giribala Singh, though, went on a spree of giving press conferences and various sort of media interviews, and it was really her statements in the press that made this case a lot worse. In a statement given to the police at the time of the FIR, Twisha's family said that Twisha spoke to her mother at 9:41 p.m. And remember, she was apparently brought to AIIMS Bhopal at 10:20. So less than an hour had passed from that phone call. During the phone call, her husband was heard shouting in the background, and then the call was cut abruptly. This is according to the mother's statement in the FIR. After repeated phone calls, the mother was answering. Giribala Singh picked up the phone and said that she had already died. And that is why the family believes that there's something wrong here. Hearing the case on Monday, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, the Supreme Court has now taken cognizance, basically said that they will ensure an investigation fair, independent, and impartial. Now, there are like I told you, many viral interview snippets from Giribala Singh's statements to the press. In one interview, she has said that her daughter-in-law was so cruel that she didn't even water the plants on the balcony. I mean, it sounds like a really trivial complaint, but beneath this is that question of a woman's value being measured by how chaste she is, how good she is at cooking and cleaning and keeping house and plant watering, and how that is entirely her value. There's one phone call that has now been released in the press in which Giribala Singh is talking to Twisha's brother about how She feels that because Twisha's had multiple sexual partners before she got married, that her basically her character is untrustworthy after she got married. And apparently she questioned, when Twisha got pregnant, she questioned whose baby that might be altogether, and the brother was asking how such a question could be asked of a daughter-in-law. Giribala Singh has made several claims saying that Twisha had mental health issues and drug consumption, and she was consuming marijuana while she was pregnant. According to Giribala, Twisha's parents stayed away from her for months, that they were only interested in controlling her career and making money out of the glamour world, and later they disowned her. She has also said that Twisha confessed to consuming large amounts of marijuana while she was pregnant, and she was undergoing mental health training program, and that the mother-in-law was supporting her through that program. She also said that Giribala said that her daughter-in-law took the first course of the MTP, which is medical termination. So it's a form of oral medication you take if you want to have an abortion. According to her, Twisha took the pill on the 7th of May and completed the course. She said she didn't want to have the baby, and she didn't let us have a fleeting moment of joy. The CBI, though, in its argument before the Madhya Pradesh High Court asking for custody of her, basically said that she had left no stone unturned to malign the character of her daughter-in-law. The agency also said that there was dowry harassment, forced termination of a pregnancy, attempts to tamper with evidence, while claiming that Twisha's in-laws failed to explain the injuries on her body. Remember, apparently she had injuries on her wrist and her elbow, and there was no explanation offered by her in-laws as to how she got those injuries before she died. And apparently the postmortem and the medical query report have established that the injuries could not have happened when they were trying to take her down from where she had hanged herself. The CBI alleged that Twisha was forced to undergo an abortion after her in-laws and her husband doubted her character and questioned who the father of that child was. The CBI also alleges that Giribala Singh tampered with evidence, circulating a selective video clip on social media, and she leaked the selective portion of that video in an attempt to influence the case in her favor. The other, and these are reported by the media, although we've not been able to establish the actual messages, but the media, the Times of India, the Maharashtra Times, have reported these messages between Twisha and her parents, where she has said, and I quote, "My life has become hell." She basically said, "Meri zindagi narak ho gayi hai. These people are really cruel. Samrat doesn't even speak to me properly. Please come here and take me away. These people will not let me live." Allegedly, this has been covered by several newspapers. She says, she kept saying, "My life has become hell. Everyone here is very cruel." In another report, she says, "I am suffocating. Please take me from here." According to the reports, every time she told her parents that she was unhappy, the parents told her to adjust temporarily and they would attempt to intervene with the in-laws, that they told her basically, in the beginning of every marriage it tends to be difficult, try and adjust. And that, I believe, is the focal point of this entire conversation. I just want to point out just quick data. According to data released by the NCRP, there were 5,737 dowry deaths in India in 2024. It was 2 years ago. In 1 year. And I want you to just do an exercise, because the human mind tends to block out this trauma. And I want to work past that. If you were to imagine when someone dies and that body is brought to the family, what the house looks like when there's a dead body brought to the family. Now imagine 3 people dead. Now imagine 6 people dead. Now imagine 5,737 bodies of women who recently got married. Registered dowry deaths. I'm not including the deaths from domestic violence. I'm not including the deaths that actually managed to get away with calling them accidents. because a lot of times they're just doused with fuel and kerosene and burnt in the kitchen, and it's called a kitchen accident. A lot of times they're shoved from the terrace, which we saw happen in Noida right alongside this case, and sometimes it's called suicide. And in many cases, the in-laws get away with calling it accidents and suicide, so their son is free to marry again. In Uttar Pradesh, which accounted for more than a third of the national total, there were 2,038 cases reported in 1 year. Bihar was next with over 1,000 cases. These two states together make up more than half of India's total dowry deaths. Madhya Pradesh 450, Rajasthan 386, West Bengal 337, and so on. Among the cities, Delhi was the worst with 109 cases. Now, here is my unpopular opinion. And I want to circle back to the fact that this particular case, and the reason why there's so much media attention, is because urban India feels that this is one of us, and she is one of us. And we tend to, unfortunately, turn our face and our attention away from the rural deaths that happen on a daily basis, where women are regularly murdered by the people they trust most, their partners, their husbands, their family members. If Twisha's parents had actually listened to her when she said, "Please take me away from here. They're very cruel to me. They won't let me live," she would be alive today. As would many of these, maybe not all, but many of these 5,000 women who are killed on an annual basis. Why is it that parents who are now distraught in front of the country that their daughter is dead did not rush immediately to bring their daughter home? Because the idea of a failed marriage, the idea of a divorce, is worse than death. That you would rather allow for your daughter to be tortured, beaten, killed, than work with the idea of her in a failed marriage or a divorce. Is that the world we live in? I don't have to answer the question. You know that that's the world we live in. Why aren't we more comfortable with the idea of divorce? Why can't we normalize divorce? And this is my unpopular opinion that I'm putting on the thumbnail. And I'm going to bait a lot of the old school patriarchs who will come in and say that I'm trying to ruin society. But I personally believe we should normalize divorce for various reasons. If two people are unhappy together, and if they can find happiness elsewhere, or if they can just find peace away from each other, shouldn't that be the better option? And more importantly, in cases like this, where someone's life is on the line, where she knew she was in danger, where she was calling her parents and allegedly regularly saying, "Please take me from here. I can't live like this anymore. I'm being tortured. I'm deeply unhappy." If we lived in a society that normalized divorce more, her parents would have picked her up the next day. And if, according to Giribala Singh, if they were only interested in her career, she would perfectly fine to restart her career as soon as she went back to her parents' home. But to offer women, young women, as human sacrifice at the altar of this idea of patriarchy, that you have to be chaste, you have to water the plants, you have to know how to cook, you have to fit into the idea of what a perfect woman is. You have to bring with you the market value of the man you marry. And women are called gold diggers. And if you don't bring with you that market value, we'll torture you, we'll beat you, we'll kill you. There are many things that the CBI investigation is now going to establish as it goes forward. But one thing is for sure, that we know for sure, that she's dead and she's gone and that life is over. And that life could have been saved one way or the other if her parents had picked her up the next day.